You're watching ChillyBoy Productions. I'm Larry ChillyBoy Chilson, and this is my review for J. Kelly. Now, before we get into this review, make sure to go ahead and click that subscribe button down below so that you can chill with me on each and every one of my latest videos. J. Kelly is a 2025 dramedy from director Noah Baumbach from Netflix. Famous movie star J. Kelly and his longtime manager Ron embark on an unexpected journey across Europe. Along the way, both men confront the choices they've made, relationships with loved ones, and the legacies they'll leave behind. The film stars George Clooney as J. Kelly himself, Adam Sandler, Laura Dern, Riley Keough, Billy Crudup, Greta Gerwig, and co-writer of the film, Emily Mortimer. So thank you, Netflix, for inviting me to see J. Kelly in a movie theater before it has a very, very limited release on Friday, November 14th, before expanding to more theaters nationwide on November 21st, where it then debuts on Netflix December 5th. Now, I unfortunately wasn't able to catch J. Kelly when it played at the Denver Film Festival just last week. So when I received this invitation from Netflix to view the film, I was so excited to check it out. In honesty, I didn't know much about the film other than its high awards prospects and that it starred George Clooney and Adam Sandler. But ultimately, I quite enjoyed J. Kelly. I don't think it's a complete home run, but overall, I think it is quite effective. So let's go ahead and talk about the positives first. Well, the performances are fantastic. First and foremost, George Clooney is at the center of the film, and he's wonderful here, taking on somewhat of a self-reflective role with J. Kelly. He's really, really vulnerable, of course, very charming, quite witty, and not afraid to get down and dirty with some of the less flattering aspects to the character and role. It's a really nice, raw performance from Clooney. And then we have Adam Sandler, who is in quite a vulnerable role. Of course, we've seen him really kind of pushing towards these dramatic roles in recent years, delving away from his comedic persona he's built up for his entire career. Maybe he, like Jay Kelly, is looking back on the legacy he'll be leaving. However, I don't know that we've seen him in a role this vulnerable. He's great. In many ways, he is the heartbeat throughout this entire film. All of our other performances are solid as well, but it's definitely the George Clooney and Adam Sandler show. I also really happen to love a nice depressing film. I like some sadness, some self-reflection that turns into depression. That's right up my alley. And this film does a lot of that. And when it's in that tone, in the present day sequences, as we really kind of explore where he's at currently, I thought the film was great. It really shined in the modern day sequences. I do think it is well directed. Noah Baumbach is a very good director. I don't always love his films. At odds with the rest of the film critic, film Twitter community, sometimes I think Noah Baumbach is a little much, and I think that does creep in here as well. But by and large, I think he directs the film quite well. It looks nice, it looks polished. It fits the J. Kelly persona, if you will. And I do think the film has some genuinely funny moments. We'll come back to comedy here in a second, though. Ooh. But when it's not trying so hard to be funny, I think it nails some really comedic moments. And it hits some really poignant moments, also, when it's not trying so hard. But I did love this score from Patel. I thought it really elevated so much of the material. So then, what doesn't work so well when it comes to J. Kelly? Well, there are some big tonal shifts in this film that didn't really work for me. As I said, a lot of times it's a little bit depressing. It's a bit of a downer. But they still find genuine comedic moments there, when they're not trying to force it. There are some comedy bits that get smashed into otherwise non-comedic tone that just really felt out of place for me. And then we go from what feels like a genuine introspective look at something to overly sentimental. So I wish we were able to stay dialed in on the main line, the main tone, and the main focus of this film, because when it tries to force anything, any which way, it never works and detracts overall from the impact this film could have had. Additionally, I think that it gets a little bit ham-fisted, particularly with these flashbacks. I don't know that they were really needed. I think you can tell this story without breaking the fourth wall like this film does. Particularly the end. I really did not like that ending. I think the way he chose to end this film was very self-indulgent. And when you're dealing with movie stars playing movie stars, but trying to preach, this kind of story of it's not so great and you give up, blah, 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 you're preaching to an audience that are not movie stars. There's a very, very fine line to where you lose the audience. They can't relate to the material you're giving them, and it becomes self-indulgent and a bit pretentious. And I think there are a few moments here, specifically that ending, that dash right over that line, unfortunately. And I do think it's a bit too long. It moves too slow, making the middle portions of this film feel really long. You're like, okay, I feel like I've been here about 3 hours, and it's not much over 2 hours. And yeah, I think that definitely has to do with those flashbacks. Additionally, though, the flashbacks also make it feel like we have so much going on because we are trying to deal with these side characters, all of these different relationships in Jay Kelly's life. They each have their own small thread, but unfortunately, we're doing so much here that most of them don't feel fully realized, particularly Laura Dern's character. A lot with his daughters feels kind of like, it's there. This ex co-star gets introduced mostly thanks to a flashback that was completely unnecessary and unneeded. So there's just a lot in here, and most of it is a bit undercooked. But overall, I think Jay Kelly is a pleasant enough watch. It's a nice crowd pleaser by and large. The central performances here are fantastic, and like I said, it mostly hit the tones and the right chords for me until it didn't. But I enjoyed it enough that I think it's definitely worth a watch. Now, I don't think it's worth a full price ticket in a movie theater. Maybe a matinee if you're really a Clooney fan or a Noah Baumbach fan. Otherwise, catch this when it hits Netflix in December. I think most people will have a nice time with it. So that is my review for Jay Kelly. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead, click that like button down below and subscribe to the channel so that you are always up to date on all of my latest videos. Also, join in on the discussion. Are you excited to see Jay Kelly? And what is your favorite Noah Baumbach film? Let me know either down in that comment section below, or you can hit me up over on Twitter or Blue Sky. I love you all so much for your continued support. Mwah! Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.